Thanks for joining us tonight for News 4 at 6. I'm Jessica Bowman. Matt Breen has the night off. We begin with the latest on a developing story out of Monona County, Iowa. It's a story we've been following for the last week. We've learned tonight the developers of an industrial waste site near Castana are withdrawing its plans and ending the project.
Hawthorne Land Holdings is withdrawing the project. We will not bring the material to the site, neither now nor in the future. We are ending the project in its entirety.
That was written in a letter to the Monona County Board of Supervisors opened in their meeting just this morning. This comes after a site near Castana was under development to receive an industrial waste byproduct derived from hog manure washed down from stockyards. Neighbors who are worried about their drinking water and the smell say it's a win. The letter details why they say they're stopping. They didn't talk to neighbors first, and Hawthorne says, quote, "We believe the project was lawful, but being right is worth very little if it costs you the trust and friendship of your neighbors." The other letter the supervisors read this morning was from the Iowa DNR, stating they did an investigation into the land being developed by Hawthorne. The letter from the DNR notes the short-term plan for this site was to handle and store industrial byproduct waste from Seaboard Triumph Foods out of Sioux City until composting permit steps were complete. There were also reminders and requirements flagged in this report, citing Iowa Administrative Code provisions about setbacks, environmental concerns due to its location near Center Cemetery and a well, and lists applicable setbacks and handling rules like dust control and stormwater coverage. That leaves the community with further questions. KTV's Taylor Deckard has been covering the story from the beginning. She joins us live in studio tonight with more on what's next for supervisors in their role. Taylor?
Yes, the supervisors say they want to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. And as a result, they're making plans to update ordinances and changing language to ensure there's a clear enforcement pathway so the same rules apply to everyone.
There's a lot more stricter restrictions on the producer with his own livestock versus when it becomes industrial, and that's where the gray area is at.
From the first time the Board of Supervisors heard of this project, they were shocked they weren't notified by any parties involved.
Why didn't the DNR contact us? Being local government concerned that we weren't notified at all.
Fox stated the Iowa DNR is not obligated to inform the county about certain projects. He also said there was also a potential violation in extending the driveway, stating that requires a county permit.
When they contacted me originally and wanted to talk to me, and then I told them that we were going to have this meeting, I said, by the way, you didn't get a permit when you did that driveway, even though there was a driveway there, but you extended it, you still have to come in and get a permit because that is our right-of-way.
The Board of Supervisors says it plans to update county ordinances, so the next time a project like this wants to come to Monona County, the community will have a seat at the table from day one.
We have discussed amongst ourselves that at some point in time you've got to have some consequences, or and sometimes that doesn't even matter, but at least you've made the effort to try to circumvent it.
Monona County resident Jerry Means lives 2 miles away from the site and celebrated the project halting as a win on Tuesday.
And we're real glad they withdrew the project because we thought there was a real danger of contaminating groundwater.
But also wants to make sure this gets cleaned up.
To see that this gets followed up and see if there's anything we can do to keep it from happening again.
I'm glad it raised a lot of concerns in the county about projects like this and what does it mean for the people who live here.
So the only thing we can do there is try to be proactive and see what we can do in that end.
For now, the waste site is dead, but it questions the questions it raised about oversight, notification, and who protects rural communities are very much alive. Jessica?
Taylor, thanks. And Board Chairman Fox added he is in communication with other counties who may have dealt with a similar situation just to see how they have phrased or changed ordinances to have a better say in future projects.